Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new, my name's Hayleigh. I'm so happy that you're here. This video has been very highly requested, probably the most requested video, and I wasn't sure if I was gonna do it because it's how I edit my Instagram photos, but I find it very hard to like share how I edit because I literally edit every photo differently. I'm not one of those people that uses presets, and I have several different photography styles and several different editing styles for my photos, but I thought I'd just run down with the basics. I get these questions all the time, and I just wanted to give you guys the tips that I do have and what I do use most often. What I'm not going to show you is how I edit on my laptop. So any photos that I take with my like professional cameras, like my 1DX or my Fuji or any of those, I edit on my laptop and in Lightroom. And I have paid for presets in the past, but I just kind of use my own right now. I make my own, but they're not really presets. I literally edit every photo differently, every shoot differently, but I would say that it's very advanced. Not to say that you guys can't do it. If you want to get into photography, you can, but I've been doing photography since I was like 13. My mom's a photographer, so it's a whole different level of just like wanting to spice up your Instagram edits. So I thought I would just leave that out of this one, especially because, like I said, everyone's different, every shoot's different. I just edit it to suit the style of the brand, suit the style of the like feed at the time. It just really depends. But I'm gonna go through my favorite apps for editing, kind of very like the casual chic kind of style that's very popular right now on Instagram. That is what I do most of my iPhone photography. This is how I like edit most of my iPhone photos, my fashion photos, my casual photos, all that kind of stuff. So I just thought I'd give you the basics and then you can build it from there. You can put your own twist on it. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoy, and let's just get right into it. Okay, so I've got my phone for reference, but I'll put a little recording up on the screen. My feed at the moment is very neutral, and I like to base my photos a lot of the time off just like the natural raw kind of earthy tones, if that makes sense. I stick to a lot of like whites, beiges, grays, neutrals, that kind of vibe. Sometimes I'll do some green, sometimes I'll do some blue, but just very earthy natural tones, and I tone down the saturation a lot, so it's just really like kind of muted, but like I think it's aesthetic to the eye, but it's also just like I want it to look natural. I don't want it to look like it's got this crazy edit on, except for some editorial stuff that I do, but I really just want it to be as natural as possible, with just like an added little thing to make it a little bit more aesthetic and all fit together. But I essentially just pull the colors from the photo. So this is my #1 tip when starting and when wanting to have a like aesthetic feed or a cohesive feed, is to pick a couple colors. Here's a like blocking of how you can color to make it look aesthetic. Put some examples, but essentially pick a few colors and only take photos around those colors. See, that can be very difficult, and it's why having an aesthetic feed is not like easy, but that's typically what I do. I just pick those colors, and whether it's a colorful product that I want to show, I'll post it black and white and then a carousel of the color, if that makes sense, just so the feed looks nice. But yeah, that is my current feed. That's the editing style that I've been doing lately, and these are the apps that I use to edit. Okay, so I'm gonna share with you guys how I edit an outdoor photo, how I edit a selfie, how I edit an indoor photo. So the first app I always go into, especially with outdoor ones, is Snapseed. So I'll import the photo that I want to edit, which is this one taken at the beach. I really like the colors alone and just straight from the camera. It's a really nice photo, but I'm gonna go into tools first and tune the image. So I like to brighten it up first, and then I always take the contrast down a little bit. I just like that muted kind of look, so that's what I do. I usually desaturate by like 2 or 3, put the ambience down by a little bit as well. I always put the highlights down if it's a particularly white image or like bright image. It just brings some more texture to the photo, which I like. So I love how you can now see the clouds and the storminess a bit more. So I'm gonna actually bring the highlights all the way down because I love the detail in the clouds. The shadows, sometimes I bring a little bit up. It just depends. Oh, I might bring it, the shadows bring some darkness, might bring some life back. So I'll put a little bit of shadows to 3, and then I'll keep the warmth. I don't like my photos super warm, so I'm just gonna keep it like that. And that for me, beginning and how it started, how it's going, is good enough for now to now import it into Lightroom. So I'm just gonna save that one, modify. And the next app I always go into is Lightroom. Okay, so now that I have the photo in Lightroom, as you can see, I do have presets, but I never usually use them because it just really depends on the photo, and I find that every shoot is different. So I usually will start and edit the first photo first and then create a preset for that particular shoot, and I'll just use that. Once I love the edit, I'll use that on all the photos, but I don't use the same preset for every shoot, if that makes sense. So because I already adjusted the light and exposure and all that, I like Snapseed. I feel like they do a much better job than Lightroom Mobile, so that's why I use Snapseed. Since I've adjusted that, I'm going to go into effects. I'm going to turn the grain up just slightly. I'm going to sharpen the image a little bit as well. And now we'll go into color. So I actually am super happy with the color, but I wanted to show you guys this because if it is too blue outside, you know, the sky's a bit blue for your liking, you can go into the blue dial and tone it all the way down. That pretty much blackens my image because it's very blue, but I'll just put it down a little bit so it's not so cool. Then I can do the same with like the teal color. Teal, put that down. This is making it look a lot more like black and white, but I kind of like that, so I'm gonna actually leave it. That's one of my favorite tools, and I'm going to show you how I use it particularly for inside photos, but I'm actually really happy with that. And that's what I mean by really love the natural feel, and I just want to tune the colors and the brightness to match my overall aesthetic and just like make it feel a bit more muted and just pleasing to look at. I usually tune the colors to fit my feed, so if it's more of a blue feed, I'll make the colors stay blue, but if it's more of a warmer or like neutral, that's when I'll tune the colors down. But yeah, so that's like honestly all I do for an outside photo. Okay, if you notice a change in lighting at all, it's just because I went and had some lunch with my boyfriend, but I'm back now. And but anyway, for the next photo I'm going to show you an indoor. So this one is, I've been doing a lot of indoor ones mainly because we've been in lockdown and I haven't really been able to go out and shoot anywhere, so lots of, you know, making things work. I'm not obsessed with the colorings of this like look. The wall is very yellow to me, but I'm just gonna go into Snapseed first and do the same thing I did on the outdoor photo. So I just put the brightness up a little, put the contrast down a little, saturation down a bit, ambiance down a bit, highlights down a bit, shadows like up to 4, and then I'm gonna go warmth, yeah, I think just to 13. Still very yellow, but I think for just a base I'm happy with that. And okay, I'm going to export this. The next thing I'm going to do is there's a few things in the background that are distracting me, so I'm going to get those out of the way right away. So I'm going to go into Retouch. So this is one of my favorite tools for retouching anything. So I'll go get that photo and I'll remove this little light, like the little power port there, and I just remove that. I'll remove anything like these little nails. We're shooting in an unfinished studio, so it's a bit messy, so I just like to remove anything that is like distracting. This like is seriously the best app, and I use it all the time. If there's like line, yeah, if there's little things in the background, dirt, whatever, I use this one all the time. Come on. Okay, so I'm happy with that now. Now that that image is like a good base image, I'm gonna save it. So I'm gonna modify the original, and then I'm gonna bring it into Lightroom. So I'm gonna show you guys, I'm gonna show you what I mean by using the color scales now. This is a much better example than the beach one. So I'll bring this one in. So because like I said, we've already touched on light, so I'll go straight to color. The first thing I'm going to do is go to the yellow, and I'm going to bring the saturation down quite a lot. So I'm going to hold and show you guys the before and after. I feel like this makes such a difference. I do this on nearly all my photos because it just completely takes like that yellowy, like mustard look out, and just makes it a bit more like of a white or as much as it can. Like every photo is different, but I really love that. So then for skin tone, I'll desaturate a little, and then I'll put the luminance down, and this makes, well, maybe to like 17. This makes your skin look a little bit tanner, which don't we all love? So I'm generally pretty happy with that. Like I think that's much better than how it initially was. I am, however, not super happy with the color of my skin. I think like especially my feet, they look really purple, and my arms look quite purple. So I'm going to export this and bring it into another one. So the problem sometimes with playing with like color in Lightroom is that it desaturates the whole image, which means that your skin tone can look a little bit off, and that makes the overall photo look a bit off. So I'm going to go into airbrush and fix the skin tone. I only do this if I feel like it looks unnatural to the eye. So I go into skin tone, and I always use the second one, and I just do a little brush on the skin, especially around the feet. Like I don't know why my feet are looking purple. Perhaps I won't be able to fix that, but it's always worth a shot. The hands, so we'll see what that one looks like. Okay, wow, you usually leave it around 45. Let's see if the warmer one, see, that's not bad either. I could do the warmer one. I'm gonna erase the face because I feel like that looks a bit silly. It looks like I've put a fake tan on, which I don't want. So I'll just show you before, after. It's mainly just the arm looks a bit more natural. I'm genuinely pretty happy with that. I'm really happy with that. I think I'm gonna leave it there, but I am gonna show you what I do when I bring it into Instagram, because sometimes I do like my final tweaks when I bring it into Instagram. So I'm going to select the photo. I have the crop version then, so I might have to, yeah, there we go. So I like to bring it into Instagram because I actually love Instagram's editing options. So I always go into highlights and bring the highlights down. I like my photos to be a little bit underexposed, a little bit moodier, not too moody. Like I like it to be very well lit and everything, but just a little bit underexposed. And yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. I do think it's a little bit cool, so I'm gonna bring the warmth up like 1 or 2. Yeah, I think maybe 2, just to add that little bit of warmth, because I think it's overall a bit cool. And then I always sharpen the image to about, I think I'm gonna do 26. But yeah, that is my very final touches on that edit. I really don't do much, as you can see, but I'm really happy with how that turned out. So yeah. Okay, so the next edit is going to be my mirror selfies. I love doing mirror selfies because when I'm taking the photo or the video, I just like hold it down and bring there's like a little square on the screen, and I just bring it down a bit. This like, I'm pretty sure it's the highlights that it brings down, and I always love how it turns out. So this photo is straight from the camera. This has no edits to it, and I honestly am really happy with this. Like, I would probably post this on its own. However, I am going to brighten it up a little bit and then tune it back. So tuning the image first, I'm going to brighten it quite a bit and then bring it back. So contrast, I actually think contrast could go up 1 or 2. Saturation, I'm happy with the saturation actually. Ambiance down a little bit. Highlights down. Shadows, I'm happy with the way that the shadows look, and I'm happy with the warmth. So that's all I'm gonna do to that. I'm gonna export it, modify it. What I am gonna do is show you some of my other favorite apps. So Dazcam is a really popular one that I sometimes use. So I'm going to go in and select that image that we just edited and show you guys what that would look like on a Dazcam. I think it's a bit funky, cool. It always gives like a cool filter, and it's just fun to play around with. As you can see, here are a bunch of the ones that I've played around with. It gives like a really cool retro effect if you want that vibe on some of your photos, and they just have like a heap of different cameras. So I recommend playing with that if that's kind of your vintage vibe. And the other app that I use a lot, because I find that if anytime my phone quality isn't great and I'm like really like the photo but I'm not too impressed with the quality of it, I use Remini and skip, and I just feel like it really enhances the photo. So I'm gonna take the one that we just did, or the one before, the indoor one of me in the hat, and I'm going to Remini it and show you the before and after. And this is just for any photo, maybe if your phone isn't like top quality or the newest one. Mine's the iPhone 11, but this really helps with quality. So all you do is you bring it into the app, you press the little check mark, and then it creates a task, and then you have to watch an ad, but it's all right. So I'm going to let that do its thing. Okay, so as you can see, I don't know if this is probably not the best example, just because this image is a pretty good one, but it really clarifies the image. It takes away a lot of the grain. So if you like the grain, you can always add that in afterwards. But if you want a really sharp image, this is the app for you. It just clarifies everything and it smooths everything. Not like I don't do it for skin purposes, but I do it if it's like kind of a bad quality photo. It just really smooths it out and it makes it look like a lot better quality. So I definitely recommend this one, and I use it a lot. So yeah, that's how I edit my Instagram photos, or at least my basic form of editing. Like I said, I'm always changing up my style. I'm always finding new editing apps and different techniques, but at the moment and for the past like few months, this has been what I've stuck to. I really like it because it's no filter, yet it makes all the photos kind of cohesively look good together, and that's what I want. I want it to look good together, aesthetic to the eye, but not like ruin the actual image, and have the image individually like stand out. So that's what I really like. I love the natural tones, but this can honestly apply to any editing style that you have. If you want more grain, you just add more grain. You want more of a filmy look, you use more of the Dazcam. Like, this can really apply to any editing style. I know the warm vibe is really popping off at the moment. It looks incredible. I follow so many beautiful ladies who have beautiful warm feeds, and I just recommend turning up the warmth and exposure and the yellow. Where I turned it down, you might turn it up, like that kind of stuff. So I recommend just playing around. You'll find your style, you'll find what you love, but that's what I do. If you just follow all the little numbers that I use, you'll get photos that turn out like mine. So yeah, I hope this helped. Please let me know if you enjoyed. I have thought about releasing presets, but I don't know if I would, just because I believe in like unique and like, I believe in finding your own style and not just like using everyone else's. You'll never influence someone by being like them, so just do what works for you. But I have debated doing them. I just don't use the same ones, but I definitely have the same kind of style that I use, so I'll think about it. If enough of you guys want presets, I'll start developing them. But yeah, thanks so much for watching. If you're not already, subscribe, like this video, follow me on TikTok, Instagram. I'd love to have you there, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye guys.